Kuzan, the captain of the 10th ship of the Blackbeard Pirate. What do you think his true purpose is for being with the Blackbeard Pirate? Since we'll likely be seeing more focus on the Blackbeard Pirate, I want to take this opportunity to analyze Kuzan in depth through this video. Hi everyone, I'm Luna Piena and the owner of the channel Dusk, and I'm a Japanese translator. With episode 1121 of the One Piece anime now released, I'd like to take the deep dive into that series, including everything we know up to the manga chapter 1128. When you revisit the chapter 1087 with the new knowledge, you discover some surprising details. As always, I'll be offering insights based on my understanding of the Japanese language, the original language of the One Piece, so be sure to stick around until the end. Right now, Kuzan is part of Blackbeard Pirate, but why would former Marines Admiral take on such a role? To be honest, I think Kuzan's true goal in joining Blackbeard Pirates is to obtain the One Piece. Until now, the true nature of One Piece has been shrouded in mystery. However, Vegapunk recently declared to the world that whoever gets their hands on the One Piece will have the power to change the fate of the world. He came to this conclusion by unraveling the history of Void's century, discovering that the world was submerged in the sea and that ancient weapons were used. He also learned that One Piece is the key to saving the world. Do you remember what originally led Vegapunk to research the Void Century? Yes, it was because he inherited the knowledge of Ohara. After Ohara incident 22 years ago, the Giants took the remaining documents back to Elbaf, which allows Vegapunk to secretly visit Ohara without the world government knowing. Robin later asked Shaka if the captain of the Giants who transported the documents to Elbaf was Sol. Shaka's reply that he was in hiding strongly suggests that Sol is indeed alive. For me, it's pronouncing Sol is strange because in Japanese, just pronounce Sauro. Anyway, does Kuzan know about this? I believe he does. Back in Water 7, Kuzan told Robin, Ohara isn't dead yet. Ohara wa shinjai ne. At that time, I took it to mean that as long as Robin survived, Ohara's will would live on through her. But in reality, Ohara has literally survived with documents and soul. This statement suggests that Kuzan knew about the documents from Ohara stored in Elbaf and also about Sol's survival. If Kuzan met Sol in Elbaf, it wouldn't be surprising for him to know what Vegapunk later revealed in his broadcast, that whoever obtained the One Piece will shape the fate of the world. That's why I think Kuzan made his decision a year ago when he ran into Blackbeard on an island in the New World and was recruited. By helping one of the most powerful pirates of the moment, Kuzan likely planned to obtain the One Piece and save the world. Kuzan also made an appearance on Punk Hazard. While he claimed to be there to meet Smoker, but I personally think he had another purpose. I don't believe he was there on business for Blackbeard Pirates. The next day, Burgess told Blackbeard in Dressrosa, I don't trust Aokiji. Aokiji nanza shinyo narane, which suggests Kuzan was acting on his own. When he went to Punk Hazard and making Burgess suspicious of him. This makes me think that Kuzan might actually be secretly connected to Vegapunk and was asked to investigate something on Punk Hazard. After all, as many of you know, Punk Hazard used to be Vegapunk's research facility. Now, I believe Kuzan is plotting to get his hands on One Piece, but there's one inevitable problem: his conflict with Blackbeard. I think Kuzan will eventually clash with Blackbeard in the future, and there are two possibilities scenarios that could unfold. The first one possible scenario is before they even get their hands on One Piece. To find One Piece, they need to gather 4 poneglyphs, decipher them, and discover the location of Laugh Tale. While the Blackbeard pirates kidnapped Pudding, it's still uncertain whether her third eye will awaken and allow her to read the stones. There's another concern here. Let's take a look at something Big Mom said. ロジャーは万物の声を聞くという奇妙な力で石を読み解いたが、Roger used a strong ability to hear the voice of all things and decipher the stones. うちにもやがて同じ力を手に入れる隠し玉がいるのさ。But I have my own secret weapon who will one day gain the same power. Did anyone else notice something odd here? Yeah, that's right. Roger didn't actually have the ability to read the stones, read the road poneglyphs. When they found the poneglyphs on Skypiea, do you remember the flashback, Roger's flashback? Odin's flashback. Roger could only understand that it talked about a great power. It was Odin who deciphered that it spoke of the ancient weapon Poseidon. So it seems likely that Big Mom misunderstood, thinking Roger could read the poneglyph. Right now, the only people who can read the road poneglyphs are Robin and Kozuki Sukiyaki. Probably also Momonosuke, I don't know. Or there's also a good chance that Vegapunk or even Soul, who inherited Ohara's knowledge, could read them like Robin. Blackbeard will need to capture one of these people to reach Laugh Tale. Yeah, this raises a worrying possibility. The Blackbeard pirates could come after Nico Robin. If that happens, I believe Kuzan would immediately choose to fight Blackbeard to protect her. Robin's current bounty is 930 million berries, and Japanese, the number 9 and 3 can be read as Kuzan. Anyway, the other scenario is what happened after Blackbeard obtained the One Piece. Blackbeard's goal is to become the king of the world, but the world he envisions as king is likely very different from the justice Kuzan seeks. Eventually, Kuzan will have no choice but to stop him. By the way, Kuzan's character is modeled after Kudo Shunsaku. Do you know him? The main character of TV drama called Detective Story, which aired in 1980. Kudo was private detective who investigated various cases, and it's likely that the name of the Detective Conan's main character, Kudo Shinichi, was also inspired by him, Kudo Shunsaku. Kudo Shunsaku's favorite were sherry wine, milk, and coffee. Yeah, exactly the same as Kuzan's favorites, as revealed in the Bible card. Kudo also wore a distinctive sleep mask like Aokiji and smoked camel cigarettes, and interestingly, Kuzan's penguin companion is also named Camel. Kudo's personality is described as humorous and laid back, but he always follows through, which is quite similar to Kuzan. In the final episode of the show, Kudo infiltrates the hideout of the criminal organization alone, taking down members one by one, a scene that parallels Kuzan's current infiltration of Hachinosu. In the last scene, Kudo is stabbed by someone, but his fate is left ambiguous as the show ends with him collapsing. Whether he lived or dead is left up to the audience imagination. Of course, Kuzan's story won't follow the drama exactly, but it's possible that he too could end up fatally wounded by one of Blackbeard Pirates in similar twist. Now, let's take a look at Kuzan's involvement in the battle with Sword, starting with the training scene between Garp and Kuzan in the chapter 1087. In this scene, Garp laments the fact that his son became a revolutionary. This is almost certainly a reference to Dragon, Monkey D. Dragon. According to Volume 1000, which was distributed during the film Z, Kuzan joined the Marines when he was 19, which was 30 years ago. This means Dragon left the Marines at least 30 years ago, which would have made him 25 or older at the time. However, it's still unclear if Dragon is Garp's biological son. In Japan and in Japanese language, it's common to refer to stepson as musuko, which means son. Just like Shanks called Uta his musume, which means daughter. Despite Luffy and Garp looking alike, Dragon's appearance is notably different from them, suggesting there may be more secrets behind their relationship. Another curious detail comes from the NES Lobby arc, where Garp mentioned that Dragon watched Luffy's departure from Rogue Town. Even though they are family, it seems odd that Garp, a Navy officer, would be in contact with Dragon, a revolutionary. Given Garp's known dislike of celestial dragons, it's possible he may have secret ties to the revolutionary army, much like Vegapunk. And there's an expression often used in Japanese manga, communicating through fists. It refers a high-level technique where characters exchange blows without words, understanding each other's intentions through fighting. Yes, in One Piece, no one embodies this idea better than Garp, who goes by nickname Garp the Fist. Genkotsu no Garp. This is a moment where Garp and Kuzan exchange punches. It suggests that in this fight there was some form of unspoken communication between the two. A true example of talking through fists. In Japanese, 拳で語り合う. Talking through fists. From this flashback, we learn that Garp and Kuzan have had many of these exchanges, and while Garp doesn't fully approve of Kuzan, it's clear that Kuzan has earned his respect through these fist-to-fist interactions. Luffy also used his fist to connect with characters like Zephyr and Katakuri. Another interesting detail in this chapter is the use of the exclamation mark in this scene. From my experience translating manga, this mark often appears when the character realizes something. For example, let's look at Sabo's conversation with Revolutionary Army over the Dendemushi. When Sabo sent an indirect signal, Dragon was only the one who noticed, and a similar exclamation mark was used to show that realization. So it's possible that Garp also understood Kuzan's true intention through their exchange of fists. Back in chapter 1081, Garp told Kuzan, 迷うやつは弱い. Those who hesitate are weak. But in this chapter, it seems that Kuzan's hesitation had disappeared, and Garp may have sensed Kuzan's true feelings through their fights. From what we can see during the battle on Hachinos, it's clear that Kuzan never intended to kill Garp in the first place. In manga, when a former ally becomes an enemy, their way of addressing each other usually changes. However, even after joining the Blackbeard Pirates, Kuzan continues to address Garp with "sam," respect mode, Garp-san, showing respect, and his tone towards Garp hasn't changed. In fact, Kuzan's tone becomes harsher when speaking to the Blackbeard Pirates, especially when they attempt to kill Garp. As a native Japanese speaker, I can tell that from this subtle shift in tone, Kuzan still sees Garp as his mentor. In chapter 1126, Kuzan even says to Blackbeard, 正確に言うなら殺したつもりだが、生きてたってだけだが。To be precise, I thought I killed him, but he was still alive. This suggests that Kuzan purposely spared Garp. He's done something similar before, like when he created an ice path and small boat to help Robin escape from Ohara. We also later find out that Soul, whom Kuzan had frozen, was still alive. The technique he used on Soul was called Ice Time Capsule, which hints that he intended to freeze him temporarily, allowing him to survive later. In short, Kuzan tends to spare those important to him, regardless of their position, and chooses to save them in subtle, skillful ways. This is Kuzan. And Kuzan was said to Smoker, 俺は俺よ Smoker. I'm who I am, Smoker. This suggests that while Garp's sense of justice and Kuzan's might not completely align, they are not necessarily in conflict. It's possible Garp realized Kuzan's true intention when he said, 正義は勝つ. Justice will prevail. Interestingly, Doflamingo once said the exact opposite of this. During the Marineford War, right in the middle of the battlefield, this 41 years old, he was 39 years old, declared, 勝者だけが正義だ. Whoever wins becomes justice. Garp, a member of the D family, and Doflamingo, who inherited the blood of the celestial dragons, are complete opposites. Coincidentally, Kuzan has fought both of these men in the New World, and now both of them are behind bars. We don't yet know what forms of justice Kuzan stands for these days, but he's faced many different ideas of justice. Through these battles, he'll eventually find his own answer to what justice means to him. I believe that Kuzan will form a new organization to replace the current Navy, current Marines. His alias was Aokiji, which means blue pheasant. The pheasant is a wild bird and Japan's national bird. I think Kuzan, alongside others associated with birds, will establish a new organization that resembles a future version of the world government, or Marines. It will likely be a group that operates with the freedom to follow their own sense of justice, like birds flying freely in the sky. Incidentally, here are new Marines with bird-related names: Kujaku, Gurus, Hibari, Tashigi, and Hina. Earlier, I mentioned that Kuzan might die in the battle against Blackbeard, but there's no need to worry. These individuals to carry on Kuzan's will and become the foundation of the new Marines. Kobe and Smoker.